welcome back to SnowRunner. You join us today as we continue on in Mountain River, Alaska. I know it's been a while, we'll talk about that in a minute, but let's talk about what we're going to do today. So, we're looking at the mission, first of all, more parts. Now, I know that's different to the title mission, but bear with me. So, more parts involves us taking drilling spare parts, 4 of them, to the warehouse, and we're going to be using the Western Star 6900 Twinsteer. And you can see the route we're going to kind of take. It makes sense to do this now. The plan will be, there's a bigger mission we're going to be looking at, but I want to do this one while we're already here. It makes sense to pick these up. I don't like going anywhere empty unless we really have to. So I thought, okay, we can do this mission on the way to doing the lumber mill supply mission, which is the plan. So, talking about what's been going on. So, it's been a bit of a tough one recently, physically, mentally, and we lost half term because we always generally struggle during school holidays to stream, and I can't really edit or record either. And since then, I've been struggling to kind of process a few things, I suppose. But also, every time I finish streaming in the morning, I have lunch. I'm in a lot of pain and discomfort, and I just think I don't want to do anything. I just want to don't want to sit there and record and edit and stuff. And it's that lack of motivation. Before half term wasn't an issue. I kept trying. I kept falling asleep, but I kept trying. And then suddenly, after half term, I've now got no inclination, which is bad. And I know it sounds really bad. I think what was needed is probably this today, doing this. I think I needed that first, let's do it, no matter what, let's get it done. And then I'm good again. And I'm hoping that's the case. Hence why you're seeing this episode. So hopefully we can get back on track now. I just needed that first one, if that makes sense. We're going to try and cut across here rather than go all the way around. This may be a bad idea. I'm hoping the Twinsteer does alright on the terrain. It is a bit tricky with the mud and the snow. But I thought rather than go all the way around, we might as well take the shortcut. Or a bit of engine damage, which isn't good. Let's just make sure we get through here okay. That mud is actually quite bad. Worse than I expected. We have the winch to help us, luckily. I think we'll be winching our way through most of this by the looks of things. If we get the right tree. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be driving under our own steam through here. I still think the shortcut was the right decision, as long as we can still winch ourselves through. Otherwise, this was a really bad decision. Okay, diff lock's on. Low range. Come on. It is quite weird coming back to this after a little bit of a break and not doing it. Whilst also doing roadcraft as well in the streams. As they are very different in terms of handling and stuff. And the winches, every vehicle in this has a winch. So we can always winch ourselves forward when we get stuck. Whereas in roadcraft you don't have that ability. It's only the scouts and stuff that have the winches. Okay, we are very stuck. Just trying to get the right angle needed here to pull us forward without tipping us. That's what I'm concerned about. If we do the wrong winch connection here, we'll tip over, and that's messed me up massively. I didn't think this would be as bad as it is, to be honest. Right, let's see if we can get something to pull us forward here. Obviously, we need the trees to stay standing as well. They do look pretty solid. That's a good thing. We don't want to lose these drilling spare parts. That's working. We're going forward. I think we're going to be okay. It's not too far to go, to be fair. My concern is tipping. So we've got to make sure we pick the right pull, really, more than anything else. Sometimes the quick winch doesn't give you the one you want, so you have to keep manually doing it, I find. And it works, to be fair. There we go. You can see the road we're coming up to just ahead of us. Once we're on that, we're plain sailing again, and I think we're actually alright now. Perfect. What was I saying? So yeah, hopefully this is to kick up the bum I needed. It's just been, I don't know, a bit all over the place, to be fair. I'm editing this and recording it and stuff after having physio this morning. And got some more good news. I was panicking a little bit, thinking, because the physio said the back's really bad, and it's only going to get worse on with the op. I was concerned that they're going to kick me off the pathway, but she's confirmed that it's still going ahead. Obviously, we don't know a time frame, but yeah, currently as it stands, that is going ahead. So good news. Right, we're here. We can deliver all 4, and that is mission complete. More parts is now done. Nice and simple. 4 drilling spare parts delivered to the warehouse. Okay, Next up is the actual title of the video, Lumber Mill Supplies. This requires us to deliver service spare parts times 4, metal beams times 1, fuel times 2, and small pipes times 1 to the sawmill. Now, as I said before, I don't like going anywhere empty-handed. And we're already at the warehouse. The warehouse can give us what we need first and foremost, which is the small pipes. We need 2 loads of those. So we're going to load those on now, and then we're going to go to the fuel station on the way to the sawmill. We're going to pick up the fuel from there, head to the sawmill, drop off, and then we'll work out the route to the service spare parts and metal beams after that. But that's kind of my thinking. We pick something up here. On the way to the sawmill, pick up another part of the order, and then, you know, deliver that. Then we'll see where we can go from there. If we can take something from the sawmill and deliver it to something else on the way to pick up the service spare parts, for example, that really works really well, I think. By the end of this, potentially, we could have 2 or 3 missions done in one episode, potentially. But it's all going to depend how this goes. Obviously, one mistake, one mess up, and we're stuck somewhere, it all goes to pot, and we have to rethink things. But that's currently my thinking. We've already completed 1 mission. This is mission number 2, and potentially a 3rd if there is another thing we can do on the way to pick up something else. Obviously, turning out of here isn't the best, but we're getting there. So yeah, hopefully this is the back to normal I needed. Bit of engine damage there, that's not good. And yeah, going forward, hopefully we have no more problems. Obviously, we're going to lose a bit of streaming time and stuff over Christmas. I am hoping to have episodic content back, so we cover Christmas to a degree. It might not be every day, but there'll be hopefully something going on the channel to keep sticking over. I think that's where we're losing momentum quite a bit, is the lack of episodic content. You know, if I look at the stats, it shows that half of our audience watch the live streams, half our audience watches the episodic stuff, and a small minority watch both, which is fine, but it means I'm letting down half our potential audience by not doing episodic content. So yeah, it's all them kind of things that are in my head. I need to just focus more than anything else. It's just one of those weird ones where I just need to get on with it, but it's that motivation to get on with it that's the problem. You know, I love streaming. I never thought I'd say that. You know, go back a few years ago, I never thought I'd say that, but I do. And the episodes I like because I kind of give myself a schedule daily of what I need to record, edit, and all that stuff. So it keeps me not motivated, but it keeps me on track. You know, I have, i.e., a work schedule as such. You know, I have a time for lunch, a time to do stuff, a time to finish, and all that keeps my head sane, especially during the day when I'm on my own for 8 hours a day, if not more. You know, that does help me massively. And with my little boy starting big school this year, or next year now, September, he's going to be out of the house for a little bit longer. He's not going to be home as early as he is now. So, you know, I've got a little bit more time then to actually get stuff done. Obviously, the drowsiness is still a problem, and that's something I've got to deal with. Whether we may have to cut down to 4 streams, and I take the Wednesday off to try and get stuff done as well to give me that day, because I'm more awake and more alert in the morning. With my engine damage there, we hit the block. I'm trying to get round so we can go and pick up the fuel from here. Which just means we need to kind of turn. I didn't see that bit of concrete there, but we're okay. We'll just reverse it and pick these up. 2 times fuel is what we need from here for the sawmill. But yeah, so hopefully this is the beginning of us getting back to normal. As I say, I need this to keep me, you know, me sane essentially. And I do try and talk about it quite a bit because I think it's important to actually explain how I'm feeling, especially mentally. You know, in this day and age, so many people are struggling mentally for different reasons, but men especially don't talk about it. They hide it, or they just don't talk about it. And I think that's bad. In all honesty, I think we should be talking about these things. So I try to. We have got the channel anniversary coming up as well, which it does wound my mind quite a bit. You know, it's going to be 5 years since the accident, since the moment that changed everything for me. The moment that made me think, right, I need to do something. I'm housebound for a while, unable to move around too much. Let's stream. You know, that decision 5 years ago, I never thought would be at the point we are now. And yes, we've lacked consistency for the last year or so. We were really good to start with, and as things progressed, things have got different, and the injuries have kind of showed themselves more. and we're still learning more about them as we go on. You know, the foot swelling up is more this year than before. Previous years it was just discoloration and stuff. Now it's swelling, and all that does play a part in the channel. I do try and hide what I can from you guys, especially during stream stuff. I don't want to show discomfort. I don't want to show pain, because I think people get fed up of it. Pause that for. We're here at the sawmill. We can now deliver the small pipes and the fuel from the fuel station. Now I'm thinking for the next one, we've got another mission we can do here. On top of the world, this requires 2 wooden planks, which we can pick up from the sawmill, and it is on the way to us going around and picking up what we need. So obviously we need service spare parts next. So what we can do is a loop here, pick up 2 lots of wooden planks from here, take them to the truck stop as part of On Top of the World mission. Then we can keep that route going and swing around and grab the service spare parts in the service hub, and then come back to the sawmill from there. And then all we need then is metal beams, which is just down the road at the factory. So this will kind of try and do a loop. I think this map really suits a loop. If you can work the missions out in a way, you pick something up, take it somewhere, pick something up from there, take it somewhere else, and vice versa, and all over the place. It works really well as a loop. My only concern with this map, and that was very early on, is I kept seeing a number next to some of the supplies, like the service spare parts. It was like ×2, and I'm thinking, oh, I've only got 2 from there, so I can't take all 4 that I need. I have learned that number isn't what I thought it was. But it took some time. So we kind of didn't really get our teeth into this map, just because I was a bit hesitant, because it looked like we had to plan excessively, because I thought that all the places only had a certain amount of goods. They don't. It's unlimited, I think. I'm pretty sure it is. So I ignore that number now and just crack on, essentially. But yeah, you know, I love playing SnowRunner, and it's one of those things that once I'm back into it, I'm going to be fine. I know I am, and I needed this to do this today. So yeah, hopefully we can get back into Metal Gear Solid number 2. That hopefully new episodes of that will be coming in the next week or so. We need to continue on with Wreckfest. I just haven't got back into it. I need to do that and continue on with Wreckfest, so we can get the career finished at the very least, and then decide what's next from there. And then also we need to start the final Far Cry game in the franchise, and then we need to decide what's happening after that. I still think I'm going to take an episodic spot for something I want to do, like expeditions, construction simulator, stuff like that. I think I am going to take a slot for that, but I've got to make sure I don't prioritise that slot over anyone else's, if that makes sense. Right, we're here at the truck stop. That's okay. There's no drop-off point. This is definitely where we need to be. That's not a drop-off, is it? That's a truck store. Oh, maybe we need to activate the mission itself to actually get it to show up. That might be it. So where is it? It's here. There we go. Will it now give us the drop-off? That's the question. Yes, it will. Perfect. Didn't even think of that, to be fair. So we can now drop off the wooden planks, and then we'll continue round to the service hub. That's our next port of call. But first of all, 2 wooden planks for On Top of the World. Fantastic. So that still needs a couple more bits. But we're focused now back on the original plan. Lumber mill supplies. So from here we can just swing round, go in a big loop, and collect our 4 service spare parts. But first of all, I need to actually get out of here. I probably should just move the scout vehicle, but I think we can get around it, to be fair. Am I going to hit it? It's going to be close. I did hit it. But we're okay. The thing with this, we're moving. I didn't need to move the scout. The Western Star moved it for us. The thing with this vehicle, I really enjoyed this vehicle. It's not Western Star, Twinsteer. Oh, it is Western Star. Western Star 6900 Twinsteer. I really like it. Obviously, having 4 spots in the back does make a big difference. But also, I do find turning sometimes quite tight because the back end doesn't move independently. It's attached to the vehicle. Turning is a bit more predictable, but you've got less room to manoeuvre, if that makes sense. When you've got a trailer that's loose on the back, and I do struggle with big trailers and loose on the back, reversing them especially. but you can maneuver it more. You've got more control over it to a degree, and it allows you to turn better. Whereas I find this, it's still easy to turn around, but you have, because it's a solid back end, you don't have that maneuverability. That's my thinking anyway, and how I feel with it. I really love driving it though. It is a really nice vehicle. Obviously not the best in muddy conditions, as we saw earlier, but it manages most of the time. That's the thing. The fuel station there, we're going to ignore that one. We don't need anything from there. We're okay for fuel. We're just going to keep heading around. We're basically heading back to the bridge and across that to the service hub. That's the plan. But yeah, and as I just mentioned, Far Cry. I don't know if I did. We need to get back the next series of Far Cry up and running. Far Cry 6 is the plan. The only reason we haven't started yet is my priority is being the stuff we haven't done. So this Metal Gear Solid and Wreckfest, that's kind of taken the priority for me in my head because I've not been doing them. So I want to get them back up and running before we start the Far Cry 6, but it will be coming. Hopefully before the end of the year. I said I just don't want to lose out on everything else because I'm focused on one thing. We do have a lot going on the channel, and that's a good thing for me. Some people say we're doing too much, as I've been told a few times. And we don't need to upload a video a day if we're streaming. But it's something we've always done. As I say, our audience percentages says to me I do. Otherwise we're losing potentially half of the audience. So yeah, it's one of those. We're getting there. But yeah, I've had a few emails who are a bit concerned recently, especially with what I said in the schedule video for this week, where I said about a lack of motivation. I didn't mean it in terms of for the channel itself. I just meant episodically, if that makes sense. It wasn't. I love streaming. Hold that tangent. Service spare parts we have now picked up from the service hub. So we're going to take these now to the Sawmill. And then we just need metal beams, which we're actually going to pass by the factory that we'll go and get the metal beams from on the way to dropping these off. And then hopefully, if we've got time left in today's episode, I'm looking to finish off back on top of the world as well. Because we've already done the wooden planks towards that. I think we can get the rest of that done today, depending how long this takes. I'm hoping so. We aim for about 20 to 30 minute episodes. 3 missions in one episode. I think we're pretty good going. And that means we are making good progress, finally. But yeah, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, yeah, that was it. The people worried what I said. As I say, I'm not ever struggling to motivate myself to stream. That's not a concern, and I've never struggled for motivation for the channel itself. But as I say, the editing and the recording and stuff. When you're in that much pain after streaming, the last thing you want to do is be sitting upright recording and editing and stuff. And yes, people say, oh, you could lay down and do it. You can, but my voice will sound different. And I just don't want to be laying down, essentially. There is more to it, but that's the gist. I just don't want to be laying down while trying to get stuff done. So it's one of those. I'm doing my best. We're working with the physio now to strengthen the back a bit more, which is the first time in nearly 5 years the actual focus is more on the back than the foot. You know, I've been trying to get them to do it for years because the back gives us more quality of life. If we can get it back, if we can get it better to some degree, the quality of life then improves. And they're finally thinking about that because the spinal cord stimulator operation is going to make the back worse. So we need to have it in a decent position. So when we have the operation, yes, it'll be worse, but it's not as bad as it would have been if we'd left the back not worked on. So we're getting there. Yeah. Sorry to drag on and talk about what's been going on, but I just feel like SnowRunner is the perfect kind of vehicle for you to just talk on the way to different things. As long as we still talk about what we're doing, but it is the perfect time to chat away. It's quite nice, and that's one thing I've missed, you know. And as I say, I think it's important to talk about these things. I know I don't want to sound like a broken record and always talk about the pain or how I'm feeling, but if we don't, you know, it is bad to not talk about what you're feeling. That's the thing. And you know, especially nowadays, and I say nowadays because back in the day we didn't talk about anything like this. Yes, we didn't have YouTube and we didn't have this kind of stuff when I was a kid, but as a young adult we never talk about how we feel, what's bothering us. That's the thing. Right, we're here at the Sawmill, do off on another tangent. 4 service spare parts delivered. So all we need now is one load of metal beams, and there is a factory we just passed down the road that has the metal beams we need. So we're going to head there, pick up the metal beams, then we'll check the clock once dropping them off and see if we can get on top of the world finish today as well. Hopefully we can. Again, just got to turn around to get out of here. Probably could have gone further in, to be fair, to turn, but there we go. And I could have gone out there with something swung round, but we'll turn. It's okay. I'm probably making a bit of a meal out of this rather than actually just doing it quickly, to be fair. But yeah, if we head left out of here, there's a factory just down the road on the right hand side, and that will have our metal beams. Ooh, okay, I thought I'd make that, to be fair. Maybe it's a lack of practice. There is a big difference. A lot of people compare this with Roadcraft, and there is a massive difference between the two games. The premises for a start are completely different. You're not really delivering as much in Roadcraft, I find. I think you're building more. Because the map changes to what you do. So if you deliver at a pump somewhere, you'll find the water level drops. With this, you don't see any of that. And yes, I know the age difference between the games. Maybe when they made this, it wasn't possible or wasn't a thought. Because especially on the first area, I kind of felt when you did drop off pipes and stuff and nothing changed, it was a bit of a letdown. But since playing Roadcraft, I kind of understand to a degree. Wrong place, that's the trailer store. We don't want to be going there. We want to go to the next bit, which is here, and pick up our metal beams. There we go. Camera got a bit weird there. That was weird. Okay, metal beams times 1. There we go. And now we can head on out back to the sawmill and get these delivered and finish the mission, and then we'll have a look if we can do something else today as well. But that's the plan. But yeah, I hope everyone is okay, and I hope, you know, everyone's doing well. And I do appreciate the support and the kind messages people send to make sure I'm okay and stuff. I do appreciate all that. It means a lot. It's just weird. 5 years is coming up, and I don't understand how we've grown in 5 years the way we have. Their biggest issue is school holidays, because it massively affects the channel. We lose subscribers left, right and centre, and on top of that we just lose that momentum we gain, and every time we start gaining momentum, views are picking up and everything's working really well, we then have a school holiday. And it's really frustrating. But yeah, I can't justify kicking my other half of my boy out of the room just so I can stream. It's just not fair on them. And I don't have a room I can use independently because I can't go upstairs. If I could go upstairs, we have a spare bedroom, but I just can't go upstairs. Otherwise I would do it. But even then, I would take time away from them, and that's not really fair. But we've managed what we can. Right, metal beams delivered. That is the mission complete. We have finished lumber mill supplies. But I feel like we've got enough time here. I think we can get something else done today. It won't be working stiff, which is the current mission showing up. We're going to go back to on top of the world. Now, earlier we dropped off 2 loads of wooden planks. I'm remembering. We dropped those off at the truck stop. Now it needs 2 more things. Consumables times 2 and fuel times 4. Now, I think our best bet here, first and foremost, is to go and get consumables. Take them to the truck stop, because we can only take 4 on the back. There's only 4 slots on the back of the vehicle. So if we go and get consumables first, and then we can go to a fuel station and get the fuel once we've dropped them off at the truck stop. So we are going to head to the service hub to pick up the consumables, and then we'll head back to the truck stop, drop those off, fuel station to pick up the final fuel, and that should be 3 missions in 1 episode. I don't feel we've done that for a while, to be fair. So it is good progress. I do want to try and get more than one thing done an episode. Sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes the mission takes so long, it's not possible. And we've still got the other 2 areas in Alaska to discover and go to yet. But I'm trying to get as much done on one map before we move to another, if that makes sense. We didn't really do enough on the first map in Alaska, really. But the mission we had meant coming here, so we kind of did that. And we've stayed here clearing this as much as we can. And then we'll look to go to the different maps depending on what's next. You know, if we get a mission here that takes us back to the first map, or to one of the maps we've not been to, we'll do that. But I want to try and get as much done here before we kind of move around to different maps as possible. And then obviously we're going to try and 100% Alaska before we move on. I have been saying recently as well, SnowRunner is still adding DLC. So Expeditions is, I think they've got their 4th seasons out now, and that's the final season that's been updated. From what I've heard and seen them say, they haven't said anything about SnowRunner, and they're constantly still updating it. My only concern is if they bring out a new SnowRunner game, which I haven't heard they're in the works of, but just in case they do, we're never going to be able to play it because we'll never finish this one. There's so much content and stuff to do, and the price of this one I bought it, I don't even think I paid full price originally, and I've got majority of the DLC as well. I look out for savings and price drops on the DLC and just buy them ahead of time. But this game has so much content, it's incredible. I think a lot of games can learn a lot from this in terms of the support they've given it over the years as well. You don't see that in a lot of games these days, especially single player. Well, you can play as multiplayer admittedly, but single player games just don't really get the long term support, whereas this does, which is really incredible, and I think a testament to the developers, to be fair. Right, we're at the service hub. We need to pick up consumables. Made it through the gate. Let's go and pick these up. 2 of these on the back. Job done. Okay, turn around now and we can head back to the truck stop. Might reverse back onto the road here. I think it's probably better. We can swing round, hopefully. There we go. The vehicle has definitely done pretty well today. The Western style Twinsteer. Definitely a decent vehicle to be using. Obviously, we did have the other vehicle here. Was it the P? I say P9. I could be wrong, but that's currently still on its side. They'll probably do need to recover that at some point. There is also a vehicle near that, and he's dropping off. We're currently stuck in the trees. Need to deal with that at some point as well. But we'll get there, I'm sure. But yeah, service spare parts. No, consumables. Sorry, I think I'm the wrong mission now. Consumables, we're just going to get across the bridge. That is coming up here. And then head round and then to the truck stop. We're actually going to pass a fuel station on the way. That was a bad turn. I am damaging this vehicle more than I would like, to be fair. I have to get it fixed at some point. But yeah, we're going to pass the fuel station that I'm aiming to pick up fuel from, but we can't fit it on the back, as we need 4 and they will take a slot up each. So we'll just go past it. I could pick 2 up now and then come up for the final 2. It kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it? So we'll drop off these 2 at the truck stop first and foremost. There's nothing to pick up from the truck stop either, so it's not like we can pick something up and take it on the way to something else. It is just an end drop-off point. We'll get these 2 dropped off and then fuel station for the finals. The fuel station's there, as you can see. So that's where we're going to come back to pick up the fuel. We need to head to the truck stop first to drop these off. But yeah, it's been really nice to come back and get back into this, the recording and the editing. It's one of those things you don't realise how much you enjoy doing it till you're doing it, and when you struggle for the motivation to do it, you just need that first one. Hopefully, hopefully, fingers crossed, that's the beginning of us getting back to normal. That's the hope anyway. Okay, truck stop coming up. But yeah, massive thank you guys have stuck with us through this. I know everyone wants consistency. Everyone wants to know what's coming next, and to have a successful channel and a successful community, you need to be engaged with them. And yeah, I've been a bit absent recently on this side of things, but hopefully we're back to normal as much as we can be. You know, there might be days still where I'm going to struggle with the pain and won't be able to do what I want to do, but at the same time, hopefully we can get to a position where we're back to consistent again. And even on school holidays, we've got episodes to cover the gaps. That's the aim really. So there's not a lack of content while the school holidays are on for a week or 2 weeks. We want to be back to that point of where yes, there's no live streams, or there may be 1 a week, but every day's got something. That's the plan. That's the hope, the goal. It's just, yeah, easier said than done sometimes. And I get told that I'm doing too much for the channel, you know, like I said earlier. But it's just, I want to. And it's really weird losing that motivation. And it's difficult to put your finger on what caused it. I don't think it was just the 2 weeks. I think it's a combination. You know, we're doing different things with the physio now. That is making us in more pain. And obviously I had the disappointment of the physio saying, you know, she wouldn't recommend me for the pathway because of the pain in the back, and it's going to get worse. But I have found out before recording this that I'm still on the pathway. They've taken note of what the physio has said, but they're still going ahead, which I didn't think was going to happen. We got an appointment in December, which I thought was them kicking me off the pathway. And my other half was telling me I was overthinking it, worried too much. That's the 4 lots of fuel on the back, ready to deliver to the truck stop. Yeah, she was telling me I was worrying too much, and you know that's not what they're going to do, and all this. And it's like, well, I don't see why we've got another appointment. And then speaking to the physio, and then her saying, well, actually, yes, she has reservations, but we're going to try what we can in the time between now and the op, which we don't have a date for. And hopefully we can get the back in a decent condition, that it won't be as severe when you do have the op. So that's surprised me massively, but also definitely helped, I think. You know, for those that aren't aware, that I will talk about more in the channel anniversary probably, but we have CRPS in the foot, which means it's always in pain. So basically the nerve receptors never reset once the ankle was injured, so they're always firing, and that doesn't stop. We're on a lot of painkillers and stuff, really strong stuff, and yeah, it doesn't help it massively. It does take the edge off, but some days are worse than others. So the spinal cord stimulator is for that. It's an implant in the spine where they attach leads to the nerves in your back, and it sends a signal down to the nerve receptors in the foot, and is meant to change the sensation of pain to something else. Now, they can't guarantee what that something else will be. It could be pins and needles, it could be tickling, so it may make things worse, or it may make things better. Their ultimate aim is 50% reduction in pain. That's their ultimate aim. But the minimum they'll want to achieve is 20% pain reduction. So we'll see. I just want to go back to normal. I want to go running. I want to go, you know, take a walk to the park with my boy and not worry getting home afterwards. That's what I want. I'm just chatting away and messing up this, trying to reverse out of here. Let me just try and focus on what we're doing for a minute. That's the other thing with SnowRunner. You can just get carried away, go off on a tangent, and you then look and go, yeah, I'm messing this up. Let's focus. Right, we need to try and make this turn. I've kind of screwed myself a little bit here. We'll see, keep pushing around, trying to get the angle. Problem is the fuel pumps are to our left. There's concrete bollards there. We've made it though. That was a lot worse than what it should have been. We should have made that so much easier for ourselves. Me getting carried away, just chatting. It's just so nice to talk. It really is. And yes, we talk on stream, but I don't like annoying you guys with what's going on. I don't know, people say, oh, you need to talk about it, but it's one of those. SnowRunner is definitely the one for talking, to be fair. But yeah, I also need to apologise to everyone who does their own channel and content. I've not kept up with much of anyone else's stuff, just because I've not felt like I wanted to, if that makes sense. You know, the lack of motivation did go further than just what we're doing. But I will try and catch up with people's stuff in due course. Just bear with me, basically. But we're here, ignore me moaning away. We're here, 4 lots of fuel delivered. And that is a promotion, and on top of the world complete. 3 missions completed in 1 episode. I think we've done pretty well today. A massive thank you to you guys for joining us. And thank you for listening to me blabbering on about what's going on in my head. That is very much appreciated. If you've enjoyed this episode, do give us a like. That does really help the channel. And yeah, we'll see you next time for more SnowRunner very, very soon.